So my staff sergeant came up and said, we need volunteers to go to Fallujah. They need truck drivers to work with 3-1. And I was like, well, fuck yeah, dude. Like, this is what I'm signed up to do.
Yeah.
Like, I originally wanted to be a grunt. And I'm like, this fucking convoy, I mean, it sucked, dude. I mean, you've been in military equipment, it fucking sucks.
And you're running target the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm like, fuck yeah. So me and my buddy Strip, we volunteered to go. And then it came down like 2 weeks later, we got slated to go. And they were going to helo us from TQ to Fallujah and then embed us with 3-1. They're like, hey, the whole unit's going, but we're doing mortuary affairs. And I'm like, what the fuck's mortuary affairs? They're like, yeah, like we're going to go into the city and pick up dead bodies. And I was like, man, I don't want to do that because mortuary affairs, you think you're going to do it for Marines.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't want to see, my brothers, sisters, whoever, dead, anybody. And they're like, no, you're going to do it for the insurgents. And I'm like, you're like, okay, whatever. So my whole unit goes. So we went there in October. The end of October, it was around Halloween, I guess. And we took the potato factory over. And it was an old potato factory. It had big reefers and stuff to house all these dead bodies.
That you were expecting to get.
Yes. So, of course, it sounds all glamorous. And
I don't know if that sounds glamorous.
I mean, because I was like, I'm going to be running with 3-1, all these infantry dudes. And, yeah, it wasn't that great because, so the Cloverleaf I'm talking about, the potato factory sat to the south. Less than a mile away from the Cloverleaf. So, we got IDF like a motherfucker, dude.
Mm-hmm.
We stationed gun trucks, we did all our posts.
Once you got to the potato factory and you guys had taken it over, how did you guys prep it for the upcoming battle? How did you set up your security and what kind of supply? I imagine if you knew, obviously you're going to be doing mortuary affairs, cleaning up dead bodies. I imagine you started seeing shipments of body bags and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so what kind of preparation did you notice for the upcoming fight?
So we got a chief warrant officer. She was a female. I can't remember her name. The actual mortuary affairs book is actually in the Marine Corps Museum now, in the Iraq section, where she actually documented all the insurgents we brought in. There's actually a little tidbit in the Marine Corps Museum about what we did.
Mm-hmm.
So, we definitely had a lot of shipments of body bags. We had to get briefed on, the hazards. You're going out to, number one, you're in combat. Because a lot of people think mortuary affairs, well, you were 2 streets over. No, dude, we were in the house next to the house they were fighting in. It was, I guess it's combat, but it's really, we didn't get to shoot guns that much, but it was pretty, the hazards of the dead bodies, I guess, back to what I was
It wasn't
talking
a calm environment.
No,
the whole thing was hectic.
Yeah, so the grunts were going through, and basically they would kill insurgents in a house, and then on the doors they would write 2 DBs, and then we'd go in. But if you know anything about Fallujah, basically the 3-1 and I can't remember all the units. We basically primarily work with 3-1, and they would be like, hey, these houses, they're pretty clear. But at night, when they would stop and they'd set up in a house, the insurgents were moving around the city. So
they were using rat holes and stuff to sneak through the houses and everything.
Yeah, so every house had to be cleared again upon entry. So
for those that aren't aware, the houses, what they would do is they would take sledgehammers and stuff and punch holes in the walls. That way they could move in between houses without going through the entryways, but they would go through alleyways and stuff. So you would think that you're coming into a house that you just took fire from and people would be in there. But in reality, they shot at you, pulled back, the Marines started coming in, and then they would move on to the next house to try to keep the fight going because they knew they were fighting for the end of their life. So go ahead. Sorry.
So they dropped those leaflets. I think they started the invasion November 7th, I believe.
Yeah, I think that is right.
of 2004. So they dropped the leaflets, I think, 2 weeks before. So after what Justin said, they surrounded the city, all that shit's going on. So the whole time they're building, they're fucking preparing. I mean, there's bunkers and fucking foxholes everywhere, and then they had the mass exodus. They dropped the leaflets, then they had a mass exodus of the city, and then I believe it was November 7th, they went in.
Did you take any part of the people of the logistics part of pulling people out of the city that were wanting to leave?
No.
Okay.
No, because we were in training. We had to come up with. So another thing they did was, so there was in our teams, we went out basically in a platoon size strength. And so I was in 4th platoon, but we went out. I think we split it up. I'm trying to remember all this shit, but it was almost squad sized elements. We had a body truck, and then we had a gun truck that we all rode in.
Both of them Humvees, or
no, 7 tons.
Okay.
And so I had in the element of that, you definitely had a guy with a 50 cal, and then on the body truck you had a guy with a 240, and then you had the drivers of those 2 trucks, and then in the back you had a guy with a grappling hook, so we figured out. Well, I think someone else figured it out before us. They were booby trapping the bodies. So we actually had to put a grappling hook onto the dead body with engineer tape, and you would pull the body, and then you'd take cover, behind a wall or whatever, in case there was a grenade or whatever.
Did you ever run into a booby trap body?
No. Not. I don't think anybody in my unit ever did.
Okay.
Because by this time they were
getting towards the end of their fight.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
So, and we went in November. We actually went in on the Marine Corps birthday of 2004. It was the first time we entered the city. Which, you go to a city and, Iraqi cities, or even in Afghanistan, the cities we're weird anyways. But you go through there and you would see piles of 40 Mikes and fucking just aiming, spent casings everywhere, dude.
Yeah.
I'd never seen anything like it. Of course, I'm 20 years old from Indiana. I mean, this is all new.
It's an alien world for you.
So we were the first platoon to go out into the city. My platoon was. And I remember the first time we ever seen a dead body. Of course, we had grunts with us, 3-1. They provided our security. And we went, and they literally were fighting like 4 houses in front of us. And there was a pair of legs. I'll never forget this. A pair of legs in blue sweatpants and fucking running shoes. And that's the first. And I mean, like Saving Private Ryan, we're on the beach.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it was, dude. Like, I just got out of the truck and I'm like, holy fuck. I kind of froze for a second. My staff sergeant was like, we got to go, motherfucker. We got to go. We just fucking went to town, but that was...
So, like, what did you have to do when you, so you saw the pair of legs, what happened after that?
So then the grappling hook guys was Ruiz and Yamas.
Was that like a team?
Yeah.
Hey, grapple hooks up.
Yeah, and that's what we say. I was
Oh,
on
really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and then I was the body bag dude.
Ugh.
And then we had, I mean, to all the lay people, we actually had dudes that ran shovels. I mean, literally you would shovel
And whatever was left.
whatever was left. And so we got those. And of course we get back and, everybody, you just stink to high heaven. Because, I mean, what would you say the average temperature in November in Iraq is?
I don't know. It's
still hot.
warm. Yeah, it's still warm.
And
for sure.
If they've been in there 3 or 4 days, they've been sitting for 3 or 4 days. That was the first one. And then you get to, I was there till February of 2005. So, I mean, I didn't do mortuary affairs that whole time. I actually did the ECP thing that I told you about, the BAT system.
Yeah, we'll get to that.
But, I think the oldest, we actually picked up skeletons. That's
Really?
how long they've been sitting there.
Probably partially from dogs coming out there.
Oh, yeah, the fucking dogs, dude. I mean, when we brought the bodies there to the potato factory, we actually had to shoot dogs because there were so many. I mean, the smell, just alone is just enough to gag a maggot.
Did you guys use any kind of breathing devices to?
So we used Vicks Vapor Rub, and I won't use it to this day because we would wear what are those, the little paper masks?
The dust mask.
They're like a dust
mask.
mask.
The 3M dust mask. Yeah.
Yeah, and then put Vicks Vapor Rub up in your nose. So, because I mean, you think about a dead deer on the side of the road when you pass it. I mean, it stinks.
Yeah.
And imagine sitting in Iraq, it fucking's nasty.
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, we did that. We used that, and then that was.
So how long were you? How long were you on the mortuary affairs detail then?
Till Christmas.
So about a month and a half. You were. That's basically all you did was every day.
Yeah, and then we got to go back to Camp Fallujah. We do it for 3 days, and then we got to go to Camp Fallujah every day because you have to shower.
Yeah.
You have to shower because of the there's some kind of lice or some shit that goes on dead bodies.
I think you have to worry about all the different microbes and stuff. That's
a lot of micro stuff, and then so we got to go back, which was awesome because Camp Fallujah's chow hall was fucking awesome. And I mean, when you were doing like the guard trucks and stuff, you're on MREs.
Yeah, yeah.
So I mean,
so that was the one good thing.
You got to shower and eat. So.
Man, that's crazy, man. So when you guys got done, well, first off, did they tell you why you were doing that? Like, what was the purpose of it?
So the purpose was to let the people back into the city, eventually.
Yeah.
And being that they don't have modern conveniences like us, they get their water from the Euphrates. They get a lot of people don't know, like when they crap in their house, it's just a hole in the ground.
Yeah.
And it goes out into the city streets. I mean, a lot of people don't know that.
It's like old Rome.
Yes.
It's like old Roman times.
Yeah.
Mixed with like cell phones.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah, it's very, very strange. Electricity's very weird. They're just like, of course, that was back when the piano wire thing was going on too, which I don't know. Did you ever?
No, go ahead and explain.
So the piano wire they would stick piano wire at turret level. So the guys in the ring mounts, they would get hit with the piano wire, and if you're going fast enough, it actually could decapitate a guy.
Yeah.
So that's when we started putting the engineer stakes up welding them onto the ring mounts.
So because people probably don't understand, like when you were on your ring mounts, you guys didn't have the gun mounts with the armor all around it, right?
We had it had 75% coverage.
Okay, so you had the front plates and you had the side plates and stuff like that? Okay.
Yeah.
I thought for some reason you guys weren't using those at that point.
Yeah, we still had those.
Okay.
But then we also had gun trucks in the back of Humvees that had L armor, which had nothing.
Yeah, yeah.
So
in your month and a half of doing that, like how many bodies do you think you guys cleaned up?
I think 600.
Really?
I think 600 was
that
the
was
number.
The entire unit or your platoon?
The entire unit.
600. And all those were insurgents, or were you ever tasked to?
No, we never did any, which they call them angels.
Yeah.
We never did that.
Yeah. That makes sense. The unit's right there probably when they lost their dude, so.
Yeah.
Okay. Man, yeah, I think that's obviously a job I don't think anybody would want to do.
No.
And did you guys have problems with any of your guys because of
Oh yeah.
Not necessarily like, I know there's obviously going to be like PTSD issues and stuff like that, but were there any guys that were just doing stupid stuff to get out of it? Like, I don't want to do this anymore, so I'm going to do something.
No, I mean, but like, it was all after the fact. I mean, we all lost it at some point because, I mean, you can't do that job every day, say once, for 3 days for once a week. I mean, you can't do that shit. I mean, it psychologically fucks you up because, I mean, that's all year round. Like, you go back to the birthing area, the morgue's right there. I mean, you walk outside, you smell dead bodies.
Yeah.
And then in that, I don't think the Marine Corps was prepared for the turmoil, the traumatic stuff. Because I maybe me and my buddy Pat, another dude. I think that unit is most of the dudes are 100% disabled with PTSD.
Yeah.
Because I mean, you came back, we lost a dude like instantly to it. Like, he went crazy, killed a bunch of his fucking animals, and
Oh, really?
Yeah.
After the deployment?
after the deployment.
Oh, man.
So, I mean, I don't think the Marine Corps was, of course, you do that quiz. I mean, I think everybody goes through that quiz. You've been exposed to loud explosions and all that shit.
Yeah.
Dead bodies. I mean, we're all like, no, because, we all wanted to go back.